My name is David.
And my name is Michael.
And this is Murderous Ghosts. Listeners, we decided that we would do this as a bit of a Halloween special for our friends with the Gauntlet. And as a brief explanation, Murderous Ghosts is a story about an urban explorer who is trying to find his way out of a subterranean lair that he has found himself in after getting trapped there during a little sewering exploration. Michael, would you like to introduce us to our character briefly?
Yes, I will be playing Victor Black. I am 23. I am brave, athletic, and smart. I'm an urban spelunker, and I've been sewering, which is the experience of searching through old abandoned sewer tunnels and seeing where they might lead.
You have found yourself, after much exploration of this tunnel, in a smaller subtunnel that has a breach in the side of it. And that breach is leading into what looks like a fairly large room. And there is rubble leading into the room, as if some of it had been pulled out, like someone had dug their way out, and then climbed into the tunnel. And the water is just freely flowing down into this room, and it is dark. What are you using to see right now?
I have a relatively large LED flashlight. I picked it up because it had tactical on the label, so I thought it would be a little bit more suited for exploring in a dangerous place.
Of course. Tactical, dustproof, fog-proof, waterproof, maybe. We hope. How long have you been doing this, and why did you start?
I started this when I was a teenager. I grew up in a large family, and I needed some space to my own. And so I found that I could find some quiet and some refuge in abandoned or forgotten places. As the youngest of this large family, I have some kinship with abandoned and forgotten places. I often feel abandoned and forgotten myself.
And this place is abandoned and forgotten. Clearly, you can tell because of the vegetation on the ground. It's not really vegetation, it's more like a mold and a mildew. It's fungus that's creeping along. As you shine your flashlight, you can see that it is very, very prevalent around this entrance where the water is freely flowing in. It's a slow trickle, and it's a small drop inside. And you can feel that the ground is somewhat unstable where you are. And as you try and maneuver to have better footing, you slip and fall into the room, and that tunnel behind you collapses. But that's okay. Isn't that how you usually get out of these things? Is just you find a place and then just go out? Or do you usually retrace your steps and go back the way you came?
I believe I have an uncanny sense of direction and intuition, and it's all basically a grid down here. It's all connected. One way or another, I'm sure I'll find my way to some collection of pipes and some sign or something that points up. It's not the first time I've been caught in a situation like this.
Yeah, there are so many places underground that are just neglected, left alone to their own devices and to their own ruin. You're in this room. What do you do?
I dust myself off, take this flashlight, and I turn it around myself and see what sort of options I have, which directions I can go from here.
So you're shining your flashlight around, and aside from the lichen and other fungus and molds, you see that along the far wall there are these hatches that are about 2 feet by 2 feet and look like very heavy industrial kind of steel. And there's just a row of them along the length of the wall. So there's about 4 or 5 of them. And in the corners of the room, piled up, is ash. Lots and lots of ash. And you can see a single door on the leftmost side that would lead out of this room. The door is ajar.
You know, people nowadays tend to forget that at one time, at least, these places had a purpose. And knowing what the purpose of a place is can help you to know where to go from there. So I see the ash and I see the hatches, and I'm trying to determine. It seems like, you know, it's a place like this was probably served as an incinerator for excess waste materials when they were digging new tunnels or whatever purposes these old places could have served. But you always find interesting things that manage to survive that process. So I want to check out some of those ash piles here and see if there's anything interesting left behind by those people and those workers.
All right. And are you just digging in with your hands or kicking with your foot, or do you have a small tool?
I think I'll just kind of kick at them with my feet and see if I feel anything solid.
Yeah, there is a small bit of debris within it that you kick the ash pile and some of it puffs up, but then something clatters across the floor. Several somethings clatter across the floor that were displaced by your foot.
I stoop down and get my flashlight out and look at these things closer.
Yeah, you pick one up and it looks like a small pebble, but then you kind of rotate it around in your fingers and you see the small cutting surface of human teeth.
You know, it's clear to me that this place was not a crematorium, not designed to be it was not designed to be a crematorium, but it's designed to be an incinerator. But here, when I see these teeth, it seems as if it might have served as a crematorium.
What does finding this tooth and these teeth in this ash pile suggest to you about this place?
Finding these teeth here, it gives me a pang of sadness that someone was burnt along with the garbage and what other discarded remnants of the work being done here. That someone would be forgotten like that and just left to be burned with the rest of the trash.
Indeed. This is, in fact, an incinerator room. It's not a crematorium room. Listeners, throughout this process, the gamebook will prompt Michael to answer questions on behalf of his character, Victor. Michael, what question is Victor answering right now?
I need to answer if and when I'm planning to have children.
Well, what do you think?
I think back to my childhood and how easily I was forgotten and overlooked. Being in a home I had 4 brothers and 4 sisters. And if I ever have a child, I think I'd have only just one. And I'd want to give them all the attention they deserve so that they wouldn't have to end up in a place like this. But I'm still young. I'm only 23. I'm not ready to settle down and devote the rest of my life to one person just yet.
So, you found these teeth in this incinerator room. What do you do?
I pick up these teeth, a few of them. I pick up all of them. I search every pile, try to find any memories that this person may have left behind, and I'll keep them in my backpack so that their final resting place won't be forgotten.
You continue to look through the ash piles, and as you're digging around, you're finding teeth, lots of teeth. More teeth than would just account for one person. You reach your hand in and scrape your finger along something that's a little bit heavy. And as you pull it out of the ash pile, kind of digging your finger in, and you manage to get 2 fingers in, you pull it out. It's a human skull. And your fingers are inside of what is clearly a hole in the top of the skull where some kind of tool was used to drill a bore into this skull.
Hi, this is Jason from the Gauntlet. If you enjoyed this episode of Comic Strip AP, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. We have many other Comic Strip AP shows available, each organized in their own sequential playlist for easy listening. Just go to youtube.com and search for Gauntlet RPG.